Hiya, I am here to talk us through it for Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. It is Mars's day, and I feel like Mars has a lot to do with today, a lot of Martian energy in the sky. We have the moon in Scorpio, continuing to be in Scorpio today. It will leave the path of fire mid morning. But we do have some interesting things going on today. The moon making lots of minor aspects that are frustrating and adjusting throughout the day. While in the background, we do have a forming trine between the moon and Mars, kind of pushing us forward. So I feel like so long as we can kind of emotionally roll with the punches, we have the ability to be a bit productive today. Now, early in the morning, we have the moon in Scorpio will be biquintile that retrograde Venus, both having to do, it's engirdled, meaning both planets are ruled by that Mars in Cancer, out of bounds. Out of bounds. Uh, Talking about drives and desires to protect one's sense of emotional security, homeland security, that sort of thing. But there is some sort of understanding here, some sort of talent in understanding how we potentially want to do that in a valuable way. We do have the moon in Scorpio, sesqui square sun in Pisces, also in the middle of the night. I think that would make for some really strange dreams. I think it has to do with, the ways that we want to go and be creative. One is really security minded, and that Neptune in Pisces is really everything, everywhere, all at once minded, which doesn't probably completely feel awesome to Scorpio in this moment. Moon in Scorpio quincunx Jupiter. So, this is, I think, the ability to, or we need to, challenge ourselves to not emotionally go overboard without it becoming an issue. We are being probably invited to expand a little bit more in an intellectual way, whereas the moon in Scorpio just wants to go deep. Jupiter in Gemini wants to go wide. And where do you find the middle? You don't. And instead, there is a problem and it needs to be adjusted for. We do have another frustrating aspect with the sesqui square to Neptune, also around 6 a.m. So we kind of wake up with this quincunxy, sesqui squarey energy where it's like, I don't feel quite comfortable. And the moon in Scorpio is already not comfortable because he's in his fall. He doesn't have the source of resources that he should have. There is a potential, though, that this moon is behaving a little bit better, especially today, because it is aspecting its ruler, which is that Mars in Cancer, and they're able to kind of swap signs. So there could be the potential for, should we be very aware, to feel a little bit more emotionally contained in a good way and still passionately, but maybe not so explosively. Potential. We like potential here. So 7:30 a.m. we have the moon in Scorpio. We'll biquintile the Mercury in Aries. So perhaps there's like some sort of way that we want to creatively be able to talk about the things that we're feeling, that we suddenly have kind of a talent for being able to express how we're feeling without feeling insecure or like we aren't quite as protected as we want to be. Potentially, it offers a little sense of vulnerability that is of the good way. Again, they're also engirdled, ruled by that Mars in Cancer. Mars, Mars, Mars. It's just Mars. So much Mars. Midday, that moon in Scorpio kind of just clicks into that trine with Mars in Cancer that I was speaking of earlier in this little podcast. And so this is like the flowing energy to kind of allow things to like maybe settle down and to move forward. I do like the trine. It is harmonious. We are feeling real deeply, though, and our drives and our habits, our needs and our desires are now working kind of in this harmonious way. Not as one, but in a flow. Later in the day, again, Moon, sesame square, Venus in Aries. Now, this is needs and desires were flowing, but needs and or habits and needs are now not quite working out. There's some sort of frustration here. And I'm curious as to whether that has to do with potentially relationship kind of minded things, because we have these things that are very Martian involving Venus, which is, about relationships. There would be something there. And again, Moon in Scorpio wants to go deep, needs to go deep. Venus in Aries, not so interested, retrograde, not so interested in going deep. She's just interested in doing her own thing. Yeah, so there's a frustrating thing here about that. And then we have the Moon in Scorpio, quintile Pluto in Aquarius. We like that aspect. There, again, it's a talent aspect of being able to, probably feel more deeply about the ways that we want to participate in society, and that we can. Maybe there is a way to further eliminate the things that we were called to do in the day before when the moon was squaring Pluto. Maybe now we have the ability and the talent to actually do some releasing, little behind the scenes releasing there. 8:05 p.m. This is, I think, pretty ouchy. It doesn't feel really great. Moon in Scorpio, quincunx Chiron in Aries. So again, a little bit of that Mars in Cancer, and I think there's in some way that we have behaved, we cause our own harm. We injure ourselves in some way, whether that is literally physically or emotionally. And this is a wound, this is a pain point that we can't really fix right now. And so we kind of have to sit in the anxiety of feeling unrested around how do we fix this? How do we fix what happened? And then late night, 10:30 p.m., Moon in Scorpio, trine Saturn in Pisces. Now, this can bring a sense of reality, sensibility, that we become aware of our own emotional authority, that our emotional baseline kind of settles down. Saturn being something that can kind of oppress and settle down, and the trine being something that is definitely more harmonious and good. So it is a way of kind of bringing us back down to our baseline in a way so that we feel emotionally settled. This is a good closing aspect, all things considered. So I'll take it. So it's maybe we're feeling really passionate and we really want to go forward and we want to make all these choices based off of deep, deep, deep emotions. And we're feeling thwarted. We're feeling frustrated. We're being called to make these adjustments. And at the very end of the day, after we have kind of done all of these things, especially psychologically processed all of these things and just kind of been churning and yearning and doing all of this, at the very end of the day, there's some sort of breath here. There's some sort of being able to feel like we're stabilized, emotional stability kind of, or equilibrium kind of resets itself in some sort of way. So do with that what you will, and I hope that it gets you through it. And take care and talk to you soon.
Hey, thank you for listening to today's Astro Weather with me. I'm Sydney. As a reminder, I'm always open to seeing both new and my beloved returning clients. My website is ddastrology.com. That is D as in dog, astrology.com to check me out, and just click the email buttons in order to schedule with me. If you're into a more conversational feel with your podcast and content, I have a podcast called BS Astrology with my fellow Mercurial Mommy Bender, and we put out episodes every Sunday for the week. Just search BS Astrology on YouTube or wherever you enjoy listening to your podcast, including Spotify, Audible, and more. Have a good day.